carer. Hello everybody, it's Tom here. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to discuss something that one of my subscribers asked for. Yes Terry, you asked for this. So here's my video and my response. So basically, I can't speak from experience. That's the first thing I have to tell you. I have to be honest with you all. I've never been in this position. However, I have seen others that are in this position, and I've seen the stress and the difficulty that it can cause. So, there are two categories here. There are people who are getting paid to do it as a job, and those who are looking after their family with no sort of financial gain, although you can get money for looking after someone in your family if you have to give it work. So, I'm going to give you a couple of occasions where someone in my family has had to become a carer to somebody else in my family. So, example, obviously, my elderly relatives who are no longer with us, God rest their souls. First of all, my grandmother, my mum's mum. To give you a bit of background, my mother is one of 6 children. And my grandmother was going through basically vascular dementia. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's where the arteries thin and the blood isn't getting to the brain as quickly. So, with old age, and my grandmother was very old when she passed, basically she was struggling to look after herself. So, my mum, being one of her daughters, stepped up and did a lot for my nan, a hell of a lot for my nan. Another sister, my mum's sister, she also helped where she could, but the difference was my aunt didn't drive, so it became quite difficult for my aunt to perhaps do some of the things that my mum was doing. Eventually, a straw that broke the camel's back was when my grandmother got robbed. Yes, somebody made their way into the house and took some money, and then the feeling was that, is that going to happen again? Is she going to end up getting hurt? So my mum suggested my nan goes into respite care. She went into respite care and seen out probably the remaining 4 or 5 years of her life in a care home. As her condition got worse, she started to lose her memory, and it became like a 24/7 operation, which my mother would not have been able to cope with, having a job and obviously a house and what have you. So that's one scenario, and then the other scenario we had was my other grandmother, and also then my granddad. So my granddad and my grandma on my dad's side. My nan ended up with cancer, non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and she kept having minor strokes, TIAs, and my granddad became unofficial carer for her. But remember, my granddad was an old man as well, 7 years older than my nan. So it got to the stage where my granddad was struggling to cope, and as much as his pride tried to hold him together, he couldn't manage it. Sadly, my grandmother saw out the remaining 5 or 6 months of her life in hospital, and then eventually passed. And then later in life, when my granddad was well into his 90s, he got to the stage where mentally he was fine, but physically he was struggling. He was struggling to move, retaining a lot of water. That's quite common for anybody who's elderly. And he ended up, he went in a home. He actually wanted to go in a home because he didn't want to be a burden to anybody in the family. My aunt was relieved because she was helping a lot with him. I used to take him to have his feet done, and I'd take him shopping as well. We'd all chip in where we could. And he ended up in a home, and the home had a mixture of people in it. The people in the home, so most of them had mental issues. My granddad was fine mentally, it was more physically, and it was tricky. But the point I'm trying to make here is, for anybody that's ever been a care worker, whether that be to a member of your family or whether it's your profession, one thing you've got to understand is your mental health matters too. No matter how caring you are, no matter how warm and kind of nature you have, you must take care of yourself. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed if you feel that it's too much for you, because taking care of somebody, particularly someone who has a lot of needs, it can be very draining. Very, very draining from what I've seen. I've watched members of the family sit back and do nothing and literally put it all onto, like, sorry to say, my aunt and my mum. And not chip in as much. And that's not fair, but that happens a lot. Sometimes someone has to step up and ends up getting lumbered with it all. My advice from what I have seen is, if you are a care worker and you are finding it tough, I would 100% reach out to others who are in a similar position to you. Maybe join like a forum or a group to discuss your concerns. Get support, and don't be ashamed to get support. You are not failing the person that you're looking after by admitting you need a little bit of extra help, okay? Don't believe that you are, okay? I would 100% promote the other person's independence. What can they do where they don't need your help? Okay? In some cases, there may be people that need more care than perhaps you can give, okay? In a short period. Is there anything they can do for themselves? Or maybe you can be there when they're doing it, and they don't need you to do it for them. They just need you to be there in case they have a little bit of an issue with it, okay? That would be my advice to anybody who's a carer. Some people are paid for this, and they do it because it's another job, but ultimately they've got to care to do the job. And then other people do it out of moral obligation. They feel that they should, When you think about it, if your parents are suddenly ill and they've given to you as a child, you're only repaying what you feel you should do. And 100%, my mum and dad are getting all that, and if at some point in the future they need my help, I will be there. And I know that my brother and my sister will help as well, when they can. I know it won't be a one-way thing. And, it can't be a one-way thing. You have to accept sometimes when you need support and when you need help. And don't be ashamed, please. Okay? Looking after someone else is not an easy thing to do, because you can put so much of your time and energy into it, you don't look after yourself. And you must look after yourself. Okay? It's just a short bit of advice for you. As I said, I've never been a carer, but from what I can see, when you need support, you need to get it, and don't be ashamed, alright? Absolutely. This is my first of 3 videos this week. I want to say thank you all ever so much for listening. I really appreciate your time and energy spent on my channel. Thank you kindly. First of 3. Put down in the comment section below. Are you a carer? Have you ever been a caregiver? Have you known anyone that does it for a job? My respect for you and those that do it is through the roof, really it is. It's a really hard thing to do, to be giving your time and energy like this to look after another person, particularly an adult. It's not easy. But there is support out there, and please seek it. Remember to hit that subscribe button down below, leave me a thumbs up and a like, and let's hear that bell sign go ding dong so you know my next content's out. I will be back in a couple of days with another video, but until then, take care of yourselves all, and bye for now.